Hello everyone, my name is Yoshi and today we'll be learning about the Japanese script. Now before diving headfirst into our topic, let me just give you a very brief introduction to the language itself, Japanese language. So what is this language? Where did it come from? How ancient is it exactly? Now we human beings have this very peculiar habit of grouping languages that sound similar like English, French and German. They fall into the Indo-European group, whereas Chinese, Tibetan and Burmese, they fall in the Sino-Tibetan group. So what about Japanese? In which group does it fall into? Any guesses? Well, you'll be surprised to know that Japanese is a completely isolated language. It doesn't fall into any group. As far as history goes, the language is said to have been brought to the country by the Chinese. In fact, a lot of Japanese words or characters bear similarity with Chinese words. And Japanese is spoken by over 130 million people. Most of them, of course, are Japanese, but still it makes up for one of the most widely spoken languages in the world. And in fact, it's the 9th most widely spoken language in the world. Now then, we're done with all that. Now we can finally go into the main topic, that is the Japanese script. Now those of you who have seen my last video, I have said that the Japanese use 3 different scripts to write, and they are Hiragana, Katakana, and the notorious and infamous kanji. Now why I call kanji notorious or infamous is because many people, foreigners, or even Japanese sometimes say that they find it a bit difficult to remember all those kanji. These are Chinese words, basically Chinese characters incorporated into the Japanese language, so naturally you need to learn quite a few of these characters. But I can assure you that if done in the right way, memorizing those kanji or Chinese characters is actually a lot of fun. It's not difficult, it's not hard, but it's fun. But we'll come to that later. Hiragana is a very rudimentary language, or script rather. It's taught in elementary schools, and it can be used to write every word in Japanese. So yes, I know. You'll now ask me that so why kanji is so important? Why is it so essential? If you can write everything with hiragana, why use kanji? Well, that's a good question, of course, but I have to say something here. Even though you can write everything with hiragana, kanji is essential. Now I want you to look at this word very carefully. This is an example, basically. Sake. Many of you who are into manga or anime may be familiar with what sake is, may be familiar with the word sake. Oh, and the green part of it is what sake looks like in hiragana. This is sake in hiragana, the green highlighted word. You can see that, right? So the meaning of sake can be, yes, rice wine. That's pretty popular, isn't it? Japanese people have rice wine. Many of you may know that. But apart from that, sake may also mean, sake may also mean salmon or owl. Now I want you to imagine something. Imagine yourself sitting in a restaurant, sipping on your tea, and someone from behind yells at the waiter and says, "Sake ni suru. Sake ni suru." It translates to, I am going to have sake. I am going to have sake. Now, of course, this man's not going to order an owl out of his menu, so we can of course cut off the owl. Now we are left with 2 options, rice wine, salmon. So which of these did he order? Did he order rice wine? Did he order salmon? Ambiguous, isn't it? One can't really make out. Even the waiter would be confused. So this is where kanji comes into action. Now look carefully. If sake refers to salmon, it's written in the blue Chinese character in the right. If sake represents rice wine, means rice wine, then it's written in the character in green in the right. So, if we use one of these kanji or Chinese characters, replacing the hiragana sake in our previous sentence, then it becomes somewhat like this. It's still sake ni suru, but instead of writing sake in hiragana, we have used a kanji or a Chinese character. And since we have used the character for salmon, now it becomes pretty evident that the person has asked for salmon. Well, I think that's it for today. Oh, sorry. We are left with katakana, of course. How can we forget that? So yes, katakana is used basically to write words that are not Japanese in origin, like America or sign, or everyone knows this, Pokemon or pocket monsters. Now the Japanese since centuries have incorporated many foreign words, English words, German words, Russian words, and even Sanskrit words into their language. And today, in order to remove or prevent ambiguation or confusion, they like to separate these foreign words from their native language, and for doing so, they use yet another script, the katakana script. So that's it for today. Hope you liked my video and thanks for watching. In our next video, we'll learn hiragana, the basic Japanese script, in detail.